My name is John Clark. I'm a political speech writer and a book ghostwriter, which means that I'm heard but not seen. Who do I write for? That's a secret. I know, it all sounds made up. But to prove I actually exist, sometimes I even write under my own name for places like the National Catholic Register, for which I write a blog every week. Oh, and one other thing. I love Christendom College. I've lived down the street from the campus for 35 years and attended in the 1980s and 90s. At Christendom, I ran into the best, kindest, and most joyful person I've ever met. So I married her. So yeah, to say Christendom shaped my life is a big understatement. The truth is, it shaped thousands of lives. And so, I thought this show would be a great way to tell Christendom's story, and to prove I'm real. This is a 2011 Audi R8 Spider, courtesy of Jim Griffin at Virginia Exotics. This tribute to free market capitalism is a high-performance supercar boasting a 5.2-liter V10 engine with more horses than a season of Bonanza. If you can't get a date to the formal with this car, change your mouthwash. All of which makes this the perfect driving machine to pick up my friend Matthew Tsakanikas, assistant professor of theology at Christendom College. How smart is Matthew? Let's put it this way. When I have questions about the Trinity, anthropology, and moral theology, I ask Matthew. Not only that, but he's a hilarious dude who I love hanging out with. All this makes him the perfect guest for this first episode of Professors on Break. Matthew, what's up?
John.
How's it going, man?
Still trying to stay awake. I heard we're gonna go get something.
That's the plan. Do you feel like coffee?
Yeah, I do.
What are you reading?
This is Aquinas, getting ready for classes in the fall. We're on summer break right now.
Oh, nice.
Welcome to the library. I don't think you've ever really been in one of these before at school.
When I went to Christendom, we didn't have all this.
As Catholics, we don't believe in reincarnation, but if you're ever to come back and you want to be a book, this is the place you'd want to be.
It's a sweet setup.
Yeah. And of course, we're sitting right on the Shenandoah River, so there's a great view. John Denver had it right about the whole Shenandoah River and all that. Yeah. I heard you brought a sweet ride.
I did, yeah. So you know how St. Teresa of Avila said there's a time for penance and a time for partridge?
Yeah.
That would be the partridge.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
That's a car.
Hope this doesn't mess your hair up or anything.
No, but I'm worried about messing up the car because these are like Walmart clothes.
It's all good.
Hopefully it won't eject me. I think going in style to get some coffee.
There you go.
You've always been involved in education, but you're doing real estate. Now you're a ghostwriter for politicians. You not only write for the National Catholic Register, you've got a blog, and it's CatholicCoffeeSnob.com.
Yeah, I'm going to make you my publicist. You're doing a pretty good job. Yeah. All of a sudden I sound kind of important.
You're selling ideas, and now you are helping to sell liberal arts education.
You know, people talk to me about liberal arts at Christendom. I was the fifth one to go there.
Yeah.
4 of my brothers went to Christendom ahead of me, and they were nice enough to tell me exactly 0 of what they were learning in class.
Yeah.
I grew up watching McLaughlin Group every week. I mean, like, that was
Pat
my
Buchanan,
thing. Right,
man.
Pat Buchanan, right. So I grew up being a conservative, so I heard Christendom teaches liberal arts. I'm like, why are my mom and dad sending my 4 older brothers to a school where they learn liberal arts?
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I don't know.
But you know, in the English tradition, like if you go to England or, Australia, I lived in Australia for a few years.
Oh, nice.
And of course, the Liberal Party is the conservative party.
Really?
Yeah, so they would call them liberals.
What's up with that? What's the liberal?
That comes more from the aspect of liberty.
What's the,
So
it's like liberty arts.
Yeah, so classy car to classy coffee shop.
Exactly. Hey, Andrew, how you doing? Good. So, 2 muffins. So we're going to be here today, and I'll have a vanilla latte with half a shot of vanilla.
Okay. Do you want the grass-fed?
What did
If you have it.
What?
Grass-fed.
Fed?
Yeah, I'll take it to do it.
Grass-fed what?
Gotta be careful,
Grass-fed latte.
Oh, the cow.
You wanna go with that?
We feed the latte the grass.
You want to go with that?
Okay. No, I want, I don't want a latte. Do you do iced coffee?
So we do a cold brew. We have a nitrogenated cold brew on tap. Yeah, for cold coffee options, really good.
Go for that. That way you can tell people you had it.
A nitrogenated?
Yeah. Yeah, we're all set.
Napkin?
Well, it's fun to see.
So I did want to affirm, this is not a girly drink. This is coffee, and It's appropriate because it's hot and it's July and we're driving in a convertible. What is the car that Seinfeld would be jealous of that you're driving?
I don't know who that is. So moral theology, that's like difficult moral questions, right? Basically.
Difficult moral question. I would say it's more a Christian anthropology. There's always within it difficult moral questions, but what we've got to get back to is a fuller, what brings about human happiness? What brings about human fulfillment and human freedom? And this is where we want to look at how the choices that we make, we finish creating ourselves. God gave us our natures, God gave us our freedom, but it's through our choices where we complete what God began in us, and that is whether we determine ourselves in flourishing and in fulfillment, or whether we diminish ourselves by working against what we were meant to be. You know, if you're beginning moral theology and came in here like this is going to be a downer class, then someone's already presented moral theology wrong to you, because it begins with, yes, it's about God's will, but God's will is that you be happy and that you flourish. And so we're looking to how you flourish. If I say, I always start, who's more free? You or God? And everyone says God. I say, well, what if you could become more like God? Would you be more or less free? And they say,
that's true. Yeah.
Well, more free. And I say, well, this is what moral theology is about.
So I wanted to ask you, so you graduated in 95, I graduated in 92. So how's the school different? And it's a lot bigger, but when you went there, it was what, 160 students maybe?
Well, I just heard yesterday they were talking. They said it was about 140 students or 140
Really?
people.
It
was
got
at
a little
140.
smaller after my class in 92.
did.
I mean, after I left, what reason was there to go? And I think they moved the Miss Pac-Man machine out of the...
well, that went downhill from there.
What's changed?
It's still the same mission. The mission is you can get everything else about being Catholic from your parish, but what we want to do is we want to develop the intellectual virtues, the moral virtues, the social virtues, and that means studying all areas of the liberal arts.
Civic sense of community, that's been the constant really in all of it. I know when I went there, not only did I know everyone, I knew the hometown of everyone. It was just like, everybody knew each other, and that was just and I have not seen that again in my life, that place I can go. I just felt at home within.
It's a community.
Theology, is that a tough sell? I mean, is that in terms of a major?
Sometimes in Catholic schools today, you get this idea of, well, who's going to teach religion? And they're like, well, the gym teacher's free. You come into this idea.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, well, they say, those who can't teach.
Right.
And then those who can't teach gym. So that's why I was a gym teacher.
There must be pretty stringent requirements.
Well, you got to get people to realize that theology isn't just personal opinions. Theology is dependent on what we call the handmaids. It's dependent on all the liberal arts, and we can't do good without history. We can't show the context of how things develop. Without English, we can't show the depths of human passions. Without philosophy, we can't make the distinctions that make clear Jesus was fully human and fully God, and that. Why he loved us with a human heart, and why it was necessary that God became man to bring humans back into sharing in God.
The fastest growing religion right now is atheism. Right?
Yeah.
So what are they not hearing, or what are they hearing that's pointing in that direction?
So I think people need to recognize what makes someone most human is worship. That your worship defines you. You become what you worship. So if you worship money, you become greedy. If you worship sex, life become perverted. Well, what if you put God first in your life? Well, you need to know who God really is then. Because you put God first, you become like God. But how do you see God? And a Catholic sees God Trinitarian. Mm-hmm. And that is a mystery of persons who have forever been giving themselves totally to the other, in a oneness in which total giving and total receiving another person, that's love.
I think a lot of times when we're trying to talk to people about the faith, we hand them the Catechism, the Council of Trent, or the Baltimore Catechism, and really that's not a very good starting point, right? I mean, for people that are maybe not attracted to religion generally, or not attracted to even the idea of God, is to show them that God loves you and really kind of delve into what that means.
People don't always know where you're trying to come from. And so you've got to bring in, you can't just say to a hurting culture, God loves you. I don't see the love. Right. You've got to really start with where they are. What are they looking for in fulfillment? The American, Joe American, sitting down in a culture who says, what are you doing talking about God?
Right.
I'd have to hear what he's talking about a little bit.
We have to really listen better, in a sense, right?
Yeah, he has to see that I'm not there to force something down his throat, but I'm there to actually be a friend. I mean, it starts with friendship. If someone doesn't think you're their friend,
right,
or they think you're just using them, or you're just there for an agenda,
right,
then you've already lost.
Okay.
I think Seinfeld talked about in one of those episodes you were saying.
You keep saying that name, I don't really know. Who's that guy? Is this a comedian?
That's something like that.
What's a good question to get stumped on this year? Did you get stumped on anything?
Well, you always have people come from all over the spectrum. Nothing stands out right away in terms of stump, but you get used to the stump, so you handle it generally.
Okay.
And people ask more questions related to the general, because you've learned this is where the stump, here's where the culture is, you say something.
Right.
And then they're really going to have, unless they have more of a background here, these questions naturally come.
So we talked about
unless they're sleeping.
It's good to hear. Yeah, I know with my kids that come home, and because they live at home, and we'll talk about what they learned that day, and really it starts a conversation with the family, so it's almost like we're all attending Christendom. I mean, I went there, but now I'm attending again, and this time maybe getting more out of it in some ways.
Right.
So, how's your coffee?
You know, it's really, it's cool after being in a July sun in that awesome convertible car.
There you go.
I'm just a little embarrassed sipping coffee with a straw. It's a little girly.
Whatever works.
Yeah, so.
It's all good.
Who watches internet shows these days? I mean,
Right,
who would
nobody.
actually watch an internet show?
Nobody.
Although 6 years and running, that Seinfeld guy, no one believed him, right? I mean,
Yeah, you keep making that reference. I don't know. I don't mind if somebody takes my ideas, so that's fine. You know, that's the highest form of flattery, right? I mean,
yeah.
So me ghostwriting a senior thesis, that's not cool.
Uncool.
That doesn't work?
Uncool.
Okay.
You don't want to put that
You
on
might
your resume.
immediately notice the quality of the writing is not as good as you were used to with the other students. So.